Hey, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Akasha here, and I'm so excited to welcome you to the second BlissLife Global Healing Series. This time our topic is soul purpose awakening. And basically I was calling it the awakening because that's what's happening right now. There's many terms for it. In astrology, they apparently call it the Great Societal Reset. I heard someone the other day call it the Great Shakeup, one of our speakers. I thought that was a great term for it, the Great Transformation, the Grand Transformation. But we all know that finally we can see the evidence of all of this time. And most of us, probably if you're here, you've been waiting for this moment. And then we're also kind of like, what the fuck is going on? So 2020 is a very interesting year, and it's a very interesting number. And there's been very interesting epic cosmic events that have created all kinds of fascinating openings and portals. I know I've had a couple of really biggies, one being over the 3rd July 4th eclipse portal, or the triple eclipse in June. I had this death and then shamanic death and whole thing, and I'm the same and yet I'm not. And you guys know what I mean when you go through a really deep transformation. What's fun is that I have so much less attachment to drama, to things, to people, to anger. I love myself more than I ever have before. I literally came out with brand new skin, and I feel and think and choose differently. And it's a very conscious up-leveling now, where I see in each moment the opportunity to choose the energy that I experience what's happening. So I truly believe that you create your own reality inside of this place that you live. But the place you live may be having a hurricane, and you don't change that the hurricane's happening. But you certainly can change how you experience it, how you live it, how you think about it, what attention you give it to you. Do you go down into fear, blame? Do you live it with stress? Or are you able to literally raise your vibration, raise your state of consciousness, consciously move into willingness and acceptance, where you take your power back, and then you start to have harmony as you transcend all the drama? It doesn't mean the hurricane's not happening. However, what you're experiencing is completely different. Now, most of you have probably had an experience where you understand this. We're talking about living this every day. So we're in a grand crisis. And yes, we're watching transparency happen, and it's ugly. We are seeing the ugly, ugly underbelly of humanity, but it has to come up. One of the speakers that I've interviewed for the series described it like, you look at the fish tank and it's clean, the filter's moving, the glass is clean, the water looks fine, but down here in the rocks, if you stirred it up, it's all full of that gunky, gross stuff. And when you stir it up, the water gets full of it. That's what's happening right now. And so we want to welcome every single thing as an opportunity, and we want to believe and understand that we came here on purpose. I couldn't find a better way to prove to yourself that you came here on purpose, that you are here because your soul, your soul council, however you think about it, you chose this moment, and this moment is epic. So way to go. High five to everybody. Love you. I can't believe that we are having the opportunity to have this conversation so openly right now. And the thing is that I'm going to share with you in a minute the scale of human consciousness, or what we call vibrational consciousness. And when you understand that fear, we're just going to call generally this whole negativity, you're seeing this divide of people who are going more on their ascension and just feeling free and having the best year of their lives, even if they lost their job, even if their relationship is, was strained, because then it opened an opportunity for them to go further into the darkness, stir up the muck, and then clear it out. So we have to look at it, and we have to realize this is about us. So this is the awakening for the planet and for us and for much of the cosmos. And this is a very amazing event. Now, you're a powerful creator of your own reality, and I want you to start to consciously unhook from the old patterns and the thoughts and the beliefs and the past and the family guts and all this stuff, because now you can see it really fast. Oh, I was feeling good about myself. Then I went and saw my mother. She said the usual thing. It triggered me. I went home and ate a cheeseburger, and now I feel shitty about myself, and I spent 3 days being depressed. Now, that's just like an example of, how these patterns can pull us back into these old patterns. But we have reached the top. We're at unity. This is the new moon today. This is an epic day. It's World Peace Day, and it is the start. It's the middle of the equinox. So the equinox is technically, according to science now, tomorrow. The Mayans thought it was yesterday, and the 3 days are often celebrated. So we're right in the juicy middle of it all. So today what we want to do is just peel back the layers and say, what's going on? What's the deeper meaning of what's happening? The breakdown, the pandemic, the shutdowns, the economic crashes, the incredible drama and the politics and the divide and the anger and the protests and the riots and the eruptions and the fires and the earthquakes. And I can't even remember what else is happening right now. Woohoo! We're in the middle of the party, okay? 5 days leading up to this, we had storms where half of the sky was black and down here was light because the sun was coming straight across as it was setting. And it was literally like being in the equinox. These energies are about balance, and it was about the light and the dark. And then rainbows appeared in the dark clouds. It was magical. And we had these liquid gold sunsets, and I saw a shooting star, and it was almost ridiculous because every day I went, I wonder what's happening now. What are you doing now? These are incredible signs. And yesterday we did an equinox ceremony, a Mayan one, and we wove in the energies of the sun and the rainbow. And I've worked with White Buffalo Calf Woman for many, many years, and she's a Native American. We would call her a goddess, a guide. She comes in on the white buffalo, which symbolizes, the dawning of the new time, with the peace pipe. And she brings together the rainbow tribe. And so she is one of our beautiful guides today for World Peace Day, and for the fact that we were given all of these rainbow bridges leading up to this moment. So we're going to talk about this live grand transformation event. We're going to look at deeper insights or perspectives or secrets, or however you want to look at them, from all these different perspectives. So I'm really excited because I invited two people I love and I honor and I've known for a while. And you may have seen Rhys on the energy medicine, and he's going to do some crystal bowls for us, and he's got some wonderful perspectives. And I'm going to introduce you also to Raquel, because she was also on the energy medicine, and she's got so many fascinating insights. I absolutely love to read her long conversations, and she asks interesting questions. And so we're going to get all of our perspectives on what's happening. Now, if you would like to ask a question, put it in the chat window. We're probably not going to have time to open the lines, but we'll see. And we're going to flow through all of us having a conversation, each Rhys and Raquel having some time to do something special with you directly, with none of us interrupting, and we'll then comment and have a lively conversation. So if you want to comment or ask questions or be a part of the conversation, because I'll check the chat window. I usually don't. I'm doing big meditations, but I'm going to write a big note here, say chat window. And then I'm going to end the last 30 or so minutes with a deep guided activation. You could call it a meditation. I don't know. What I do is so multidimensional. And I did something on a show the other day that even the host was like, I do this every day. And I went so far out again. So we're keeping that to the end. So you're going to have a nice experience to tune into the energies, and we'll see what comes through. So I wanted to say, yes, happy Peace Day. And I don't know whether, let me just peek here. No, so we're going to stop that. And good. So let me just check, make sure everyone's in. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Awesome. It's so good to see you all. I'm very excited for this. So remember, the chat window is for you to be a part of this. And the fact that you chose to show up now, that you chose to show up in person for this, because the energies are encoded into the recording, is really cool, because that means you brought your energy here, and that means we're all here and we get to go through these sacred portals together. And that's one of my favorite things, is that energetically we can connect like this all around the world. And even though there's no way to decipher what's the truth, quote unquote, and all the drama and media and social media and conversations and everybody thinking they know the right way, and everything being stirred up again. And yet, when you come together like this, when we come together like this to say, hey, what's really going on? We want to see the other perspectives because we're multidimensional beings. We get the opportunity to say, oh yeah, okay, now we have a deeper meaning for this. Now I can start to trust that what's falling apart is supposed to fall apart, and I can look through it, or I can use it as a doorway to solve the problem or to rise above it, to get a new perspective. So that's what this is about. All right, so I'm going to take just a second, and I'm going to see if I can light my sweetgrass and just connect us all. So before we start all of our calls, I create an infinity healing chamber. I'm going to tune you into it. It's a sacred space. It's at infinity. And what will happen is you're going to just start to expand. You're going to move into the vibration of infinity. And it's a perfect place to be because the equinox is about balance. So you can just let go like you're going up in a hot air balloon and come into the space. Really make it like you're entering a real temple. And in this temple, we're going to feel the temple because it's conscious living energies. And we're going to be receiving healing, and things are going to be removed. And it's all going to happen with ease and grace because we're walking in that beautiful place of balance. It's often where you get to get glimpses from your higher self or your body elemental or something that's your great guide of truth. What's next for you? What is your soul purpose? What is the awakening right now? What's your part in it? What's your puzzle piece in it? Or you may receive ideas about your health issue right now. You may just receive very peaceful healing and not have a clue what happened for a few days. Just understand that just being here in this space, there's already loving, healing, conscious energies that can only operate for what is optimal for you at this time. And that's the way we do everything, is what is optimal for you at this time, because none of us are supposed to be the same. We're supposed to be who we were designed to be, not who we were told we should be, and all of that stuff. So we've been unpacking those beliefs and finding ourselves under all the drama and lack and self-esteem and anger and fear and depression and craving. And now it's time to take this moment and use this portal and this gathering and these beautiful speakers and all of these energies that are coming together, and just give yourself permission to let it go. You just drop it. You don't have to carry that wet sand, that big, heavy pail anymore, because once you transcend and accept it, you move into harmony, and you don't have to effortfully forgive. It's actually what your state does. It lets go. Your emotional body lets go. So this is the place to let go and to free yourself and to connect more with yourself. Okay, good. So let's just say hello to all my friends here. This is Ishel. She's the Maya moon goddess. And moon and the rainbow, goddess of the rainbow. And so of course she had to be here, and Kuan Yin. And so we have our feminine, they lined up naturally this way. I realized it the other day. And then over here we have our masculine energies. And then we have the corn maiden over here, bringing it all together, connecting us. So all of these wonderful beings and our flower of life. I don't know if you can see the flower of life in there. It's a three-dimensional flower of life sphere inside a crystal, and it's on a base that when you spin it, you can visualize yourself inside of it, which is how we teach you to activate your light body in light body school. So I don't know if this will work. Maybe it will. Okay, so you see when it spins, you can start to focus on the back wall and it'll become three-dimensional around you. So something very special from one of my mystery school teachers. All right. Oh, this is so yummy. Let's see if we can do this. So I want you to relax, close your eyes if you'd like, and just feel into the space. So we're going to welcome you into a hot air balloon. I liked that. So as you're entering the space and walking up, you see the temple. up here, and we're just welcoming you with some sweet grass, and you just let this sacred smoke free you. So this is where you put your bags. You can't enter the hot air balloon with all your baggage. So this is where you take your shame and your guilt, and you take your fear and your lack and your victimhood, and you just unhook it like bags you've been carrying around and set it to the side. And there's all of these amazing and beautiful light beings, our light body council, lining the pathway as you walk towards this beautiful hot air balloon. We've got Kuan Yin and Saint Germain, and we have the dolphins and the elementals. And we have Thoth and Isis and Gaia and Merlin and Horus and Kukulkan, the feathered serpent, who says, shed it. You just give it to him and he'll take it. So take a moment to walk slowly with these beautiful beings, welcoming you and holding their arms out so that you can just release those bags. You don't even need to know what it is. You can just feel one on your back or your leg or your throat or your head, your heart, and just take it off if it's heavy. If it's shame or blame or guilt, if it's anger or fear or depression, if it's grief or regret or disappointment, it's a heavy energy and it doesn't serve you. Just let it go. And now you feel light, and you walk up into this beautiful hot air balloon. It's decorated. And you just look at the beauty, and we invite you to activate your light body at optimal speed for you at this time. If you take a deep breath in, hold it in your heart and feel it expanding with the intention that you ask your entire light being to align with your soul signature frequency. And blow the breath out and feel that thought intention move out like waves, pulsing and expanding out from you through your body, mind, emotions, and all of your light body, and the balloon begins to rise. And you rise up, beginning to feel lighter. You begin to feel courage. You know, I could own my own mind, thoughts, emotions, energies, choices, meanings. I could do that. That'd be possible. I could unplug and go within and be a channel for more light. I'm ready and I'm willing to open myself to myself. And you begin to enter the infinity healing chamber. You're invited now, and you exit the balloon and you enter the center of this sacred space. Declare in your heart, I enter this space in reverence, presence, and love. I am light, I am love, I am infinite. And now you feel all those guides of the council coming in and guiding you to the center of this space. There's a gold cone of light above you, that goes way up, and an identical one below you that goes way down. And the gold ray, the ray that holds all rays of creation, beams down onto you. And you relax and declare in your heart, I accept that I am, E.A. Escher, E.A. And I accept that I am here at this moment with a purpose and a reason and a unique skill. And I accept myself and everything that has been, everything that is. And I'm ready and willing and open and receptive to receive and release that which is optimal for me to connect to my soul signature frequency and my soul purpose, to understand who I am and free myself from the bonds that keep me from fully expressing and living and loving the life my soul intended. We're also wrapped in the all-seeing eye, and you may feel and see just clarity or connection, or channels or doors or tunnels or passageways. This infinite space, you can see and connect to anything, anywhere, anytime, in any dimension. And outside of all of this, you tune in and see and feel the sphere of the flower of life, like we just saw in the crystal, all around us, encompassing this entire enormous chamber of light. This white light flower of life sphere spins at infinity. Open your heart. Allow your higher self, your I am presence, and your body elemental to join you as you take your seat in this sacred circle today. We invite in any other lives or guides or family or ancestors that are optimal for you at this time. And we activate a harmonized power program, calling in the full color spectrum to harmonize this space, tuning into World Peace Day, tuning into the celebrations, tuning into the voices, tuning into the hearts that are focusing on peace and the minds that are taking a pause to raise themselves up the scale to peace and bliss. Feel it like a mist of rainbow light coming down onto you and over you. Feel and see us all in this great temple, in this beautiful circle. And we acknowledge the new moon today. And in this darkness, this darkest night, we release the fear and accept the harmony, transcending, unplugging, protected and aligned with your highest good. You can walk through any darkness with your own light. So take a moment of silence to tune into these energies and to this space and to open this time-space continuum of the soul purpose awakening that we will walk through together for a few weeks. We've got 8 live events and interviews every day in between, and it's like going into a cocoon. So ask in your heart, for the next few weeks in this cocoon of soul purpose awakening and insights and messages and messengers and experiences that will be coming to you. What is my soul purpose awakening? What is optimal for me to know, to see, to reveal, to release, to renew, to remember at this time? I'll leave you in silence for 1 minute and just receive. Welcome into this space. Know that it's recorded and that anything you need to know that comes to you through this experience, you will remember, you'll be able to go back and look at. So be present and enjoy yourself. Okay, I want to show you one thing and then we're going to invite Rhys to open us up with some crystal bowls. Right, I don't see it. Let me see, where'd she put it? No, I don't see it. Maybe I gotta refresh. I want to show you the scale real quick. And if you don't have this, just send us an email and we'll be happy to give it to you. And I still don't see it. Okay. All right. Never mind, we'll take a look later. But I wanted to point out that if you look for the scale of human consciousness by David Hawkins, ours is our own version of that, but you can find them online very easily. If you use this as a guide to understand if your reaction or your thoughts or your emotions are yours, where are you coming from on the scale? So a lot of the conversation right now is on blaming. And if you're blaming, it doesn't matter what your particular viewpoint is. I'm not siding with anybody. I'm just saying if you are blaming even yourself, you're at the second lowest state of consciousness, which is guilt. That's what your emotional body is in. And so you need to stop getting in the conversation and just use energy and different things to rise up out of it. So use it as a guide to understand where you're coming from, because there's a lot of fear around us. There's a lot of energy around us. If you're talking, if you're going on Facebook, if you're listening to the news, you're getting opinions and fear and all kinds of other energies are rising up. So this is the time to learn to optimize your own energy. So with that, I want to introduce my wonderful friend, Rhys. And Rhys has, well, actually, just tell us a little bit about yourself before you start your crystal bowls.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I run the Rhys Thomas Institute of Energy Medicine. It's a 3-year training plus grad programs in sort of very advanced. It's sort of like the advanced. It's the advanced program, the PhD in chakras. I teach a system of understanding your life purpose. My book is called Discover Your Purpose, and I teach a system that is energetic based. After many years of I'm now 20 years in the energy world, discovering that the Enneagram and DISC and Myers-Briggs, these types of systems are primarily based on behavior. And if there ever was a time to notice that people behave badly in their lives, this would be it. And so our behavior doesn't always define who we are. Even though I can behave like a caretaker my whole life, it doesn't mean that that's what I was born to be. And so understanding your energetic purpose is really the foundation. It's sort of the next level of healing, where we're opening our chakras up now. Nan and I are on a board where we have some of the top healing schools in the country, but also we are overseeing and supporting 8,000 different healing modalities right now in the world, in the country. And every one of those modalities opens your chakras up. None of them are bad. None of them are like, oh, that's a bad one. They're all great. And they open your chakras up. The question though is, with 8,000 healing modalities, why aren't people any better? And then, you know, that we should have people walking on water and ascending and all this stuff, but we don't have the consistency in it. It was sort of created within the guideline of regular medicine. You get sick, you go to the doctor fixes you, you go home. We learned that system, so now we use healers the same way. We get sick, we go to the healer, we feel better, we go home, we get sick again, then we go to the healer and we go back. And when does it change where we become the ones that are sort of the principle in our health? And what I found was that this piece, and I love that Nan is doing the Soul Purpose Awakening, and actually my event coming up is called Awaken. I love the concept, awaken to your highest purpose. What I found was that illness is usually in some way related to an inability to access your sense of purpose. If you're living someone else's purpose, what ends up happening is, even if you're doing a really nice thing, you can be, I'm a volunteer, I help people, I do these things. But if you're here to be some kind of an achiever, which isn't that, you're here trying to caretake other people, but really you're not here to do that, you end up running the wrong energy through your chakras, and that energy running through the wrong way through your chakras makes you sick. And so the thing that happens is you go to the healer, you open the chakra and you go, oh my God, just like Nan's meditation just then. It was like, wow. And you really open up, and then your mom calls you on the phone like in an hour from now, and you're like, whoop, chakra closes down. It's like, oh my God, I got to help to do this stuff. So what keeps the chakra open is remembering and being very deeply aware emotionally and physically of what you're really here to do in the world, be in the world. So this is what I do, and with healing work and meditations and all those types of things that Nan does here as well, to really develop. And the whole focus is, let's teach you hundreds of different healing modalities rather than just one, and understand that every time a chakra opens up, which I'm going to use the crystal bowls for right now, every time a chakra opens up, it's not opening the chakra that counts. That doesn't heal you. What heals you is what comes through the chakra, the information you get through the chakra when it opens, because that voice is always the same. And knowing that voice within you and getting used to understanding that that's the voice that is healing you, that's the key to like the next generation of healing, these 8,000 healings modalities, as they relate to purpose, as Nan's doing here with this in this session. Relating it to purpose creates a way to keep that healing in your life all the time. So that's a little bit about who I am, what I believe in, and what I love teaching about.
Love it.
So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to play so what I want everybody to do is just take a minute and pick one thing that you absolutely have to change in your life. It's like this, it's your health, your work, money situation, relationship problem, pick anything that's just like, that's gotta go, or this has to improve. Okay. Or I want to run the marathon. I want to, whatever it is that it's like, this is what I need to do to make my next step. And don't shoot low, decide this is really, if I could do one thing this year, this would be it. Okay. And just hold that for a second in your consciousness and say, and feel what it would be like if you had it. It's like, if I already was there, how much more peace would you have? How much more power would you feel? How much more joy would you have? Okay, so just honor that it's important to you. If you closed your eyes and you come on back. If you closed your eyes and you saw it and it was like, yeah, it's okay. Pick something else. Pick something that's like, I want that. And I'm willing to go after it. Because when you really want something, it can be ego, but when you really feel it in your heart, feel it in your bones, that's the one you're after. So, and it may be something in your life right now that's really challenging, because we're all being challenged a bit with this pandemic COVID thing that's happening right now. All right, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to play a bowl, and all you want to do is just allow yourself to breathe into it. You don't have to do anything, go anywhere. I'm not even going to actually do a guided meditation. Nan just killed it on that one. How could I top that? So all you're going to do is you're just going to feel this crystal bowl in your body. And then after we're done, just type in on the chat what you felt. Okay? So here we go. Oh, wait, let me make sure that I've got am I sharing sound?
No, I don't hear it yet.
Okay, yeah, no, that's good.
Now it says you are, yeah.
So when you went on, I got shut off. Okay, here we go. How's that? All right.
Good,
so
yeah.
Take a deep breath in, close your eyes, and just let this bowl, this tone, allow you to feel whatever comes up. Whatever's happening right now, just breathe into it. Just take a deep breath and maybe make a note of how that felt. And you can type that in Just type it in the chat. It'd be some of you, whatever you experienced. Okay, it felt hopeful. It felt peaceful. Sometimes bowls can make you feel like something very specific, and sometimes it's not always great. Sometimes it can be a pressure in the heart or pressure in the throat. It's totally fine to write that into. We have a lot, so we have peaceful, soothing. It felt so peaceful, quiet. Nice. I felt deep and abiding peace fill my body. And notice if you felt it in certain areas of your body. So when you felt soothed and peaceful or hopeful, where was that coming from? From the heart, from your gut, from your head? Where in your energy field? So the bowls are made of crystal, just like, there we go, chest, heart. Nice. Openness from the top of my head. Good. Because the energy, your body's a liquid, is a liquid crystal. It's like a crystal tuning fork. When crystal bowls play, you vibrate, your whole field wakes up. And so it gives you access to information that you normally don't have in your normal mental state. And these feelings aren't feelings that you were expecting. It's like, he played a bowl and I felt this. Why was that? And yet I can tell you that whatever you felt is the answer to whatever you were trying to solve. You just have to know how to understand it. So you felt in your chest, heart, openness from the top of my head. Energy became, as I was trying to go back in time and change something. Nice. My energy was in my head. So think about, the woods, flowing water, sunlight through the trees, chest and heart. See, now so it's important to understand, this is one tone, which is one dimension of the energy field. It's tuned perfectly to actually a part of your energy field that tells you what your life purpose is. And for those of you that want to know how you're going to solve your problem, this emotion that you felt is the way the soul creates in your life. So felt in my chest and my head. So whoever said chest and my head. So you need to be aware that possibly you're overthinking when you should just be coming from the heart. Okay. And this connection between the mind and the heart is so important for you to have. Because your heart may be into it, but your brain's saying, no way, I can't do that. But the brain may be saying, this is great. And your heart says, are you kidding me? That makes me hurt. And so having just that, just if you knew the chest and the head, you knew you needed to combine those two energy centers in your body to solve this dilemma you have, this thing you're trying to solve, this thing you're trying to do. So I just use that one example, but basically for each one of you, what you felt when that bowl played, and I'll stop it playing right now, what you felt when that bowl played is the emotion that your soul needs you to live in to access that. And we didn't get anybody saying, I didn't feel anything, or that felt terrible, or whatever. When you do open up a chakra, the voice that comes through is a soul type of voice. It's a purpose voice. It's this deeper awareness within you. And it only speaks in two ways. It either tells you like these, it was like, oh my God, it felt so great. That's your highest potential. And that's the potential. That's the energy you need to succeed at this. And then the other one is it tells you like with a painful or a tension area or some sort of piercing noise in your ear, whatever it is, how you're blocking it. And so each part of your body, each chakra in your body, each energy system does that. So I just wanted to give you kind of like a little, you can work with, there's whatever healing work you do, when a chakra opens up, listen to what you felt and understand that that is not an altered state. That's your primary state. The altered state is when you're thinking. Thinking isn't a natural function. It's a survival function. The natural function is feeling. And those feelings have power in them. Your thinking has almost none. So we always get ourselves in trouble when we're thinking. So anyway, I just wanted to, that's a little meditation that you can then take home with you too. And if you work with crystal bowls or toning or whatever opens your chakras, do it. But don't just let the chakras open. Feel what that emotion is that comes out of the chakra when it opens. That's where the healing, the real extended permanent healing lies. All right, everybody, enjoy.
Oh, yay. Well, I want to share. I felt I was flying and soaring and free, and it was somewhere specific that I want to be. And it was so much joy. And I couldn't smile wide enough. And it was so light and like moving everywhere. And it was like coming from my heart, but then like this beam like became most of my focus became right up here, like out. So yeah, it was yummy. You gonna tell everybody what it was?
Well, that's so there are, when I said that that the enneagram and the disc and those things don't actually define things. We know all these different characters in the world. There's leaders, people, okay, that are really here to inspire others, and they do it as in lots of different ways. There are people that are super straight arrow achievers. I got this organized. I'm going to go after that. I'm going to do it. And as I'm saying these, think about which one you are, and you're focused, and usually have good letters behind your name. You've definitely graduated from college. You got all these stuff. And then there's people that are caretakers, that are sort of big and warm and huggy, and they just love people. And then there's people that are just deep feelers, and they're all about the sort of sensitive, and they're overwhelmed by just like the change in the weather type of thing. But they're also big hearts. And then there's the creative people, a little more like me, where it's like downloading and that. So Nan, so when I was saying that when you feel this, it's your purpose. So Nan's, are you still seeing me okay? Said the internet was unstable.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Okay.
so Nan has this combination of a leader and the creative. So she's constantly downloading information. Like a creative person has just got a big wide open seventh chakra, and it's just like a funnel for infinite amounts of stuff. And so they're constantly like spinning with, oh, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, I can do that, and they're out. And so that person also needs one of the stronger ones to sort of focus that energy, or else they just stay up in the spinning. And so Nan has that. Nan has both the leader and the creative combined. And so what she experienced there was her leader has this huge heart to save and support and help other people and do that. But she does it by opening to spirit and making that channel come right down. So what she experienced is how she's going to solve whatever problem she's got. She's going to solve it in that way by leading with spirit. So that's a very, very simple, it's a very simple interpretation of why you felt that here going up like that. Nice.
Oh, nice. Ooh, I love it. I love it. Thank
Maybe
you.
anybody else, if you want me to, but if, I don't know how much, I don't know what else you got on the schedule. So I'm happy to
Let's see.
keep going on any of this.
Someone said I wanted to cry. Aha, this is spot on. Thank you. And total peace in the midst of chaos in the world. That's perfect, because that's exactly what we were talking about in the beginning, right? How to change your state despite what's happening around you, or what you've decided or perceived that is happening around you, right? So thank you, Reverend Mona. All right, good. Oh, I love it. So let's now go and say hi to our other beautiful guest, Raquel. Hi, sweetie.
Hey, Raquel.
Hey, let's see. You're muted.
Okay. Am I
There we
muted?
go. Yay. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah,
This is amazing. Wow. This is so amazing. What a beautiful, beautiful, unbelievably beautiful process. And wow, that crystal bowl healing. I mean, so beautiful. I felt also just incredible amount of light, and just like the room opening, as well as my body opening with like these little light fireflies all over, and just amazing. Thank you for that. That was
welcome.
powerful.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Did you want to share any more, Rhys? He can do reading for you on what you felt.
I certainly can. So that was beautiful. Of just a quick of the five people: the leader, the achiever, the caretaker, the deep feeler, and the creative. Which one do you see yourself as?
You know, it's funny. I would say probably similar to Nan. I think I definitely have creative and definitely have leadership.
Yeah.
Those would be the ones that I would relate to the most, I think.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I definitely see that. But yours didn't go up. It was sort of going out. And so your
Yeah.
leader may be even a little stronger willed than Nan. You know, and gets it from the ethers. You see the sparkle right here in the world. You
Yeah.
know, so that creative stuff, you're looking for that sparkle. It's like in the eye of somebody, in the situation, and that. And you're more of a proactive kind of a leader in this spirit world than Nan's bringing in like the guides and Thoth and which I love that stuff because I totally come from that dimension as well. But yours is a little more sort of like hands-on practical kind of stuff. I don't know what you do exactly. Sparkle in the
You
world.
nailed it.
So.
You nailed it. Yeah,
Oh.
absolutely. You absolutely nailed it. I definitely bring in the practical. And I'm a woo practitioner myself. Been like, so when you talked about all of the healing modalities, I'm like, yeah, that's me. I've done every healing modality. I, but where it's always come to for me was how do you use it practically to, create a life and create a life that you love. And so, yeah, that was spot on. You nailed it.
Awesome. Well, I don't want to take your fire here, so it's up to you're on.
Yeah, so that's
Thank
a
you.
perfect segue. Go ahead and tell us more about you, honey.
Yeah, it is actually. That is perfect. I mean, it really has been this journey for me of having these spiritual awakenings. I think my first experience was meeting, a shaman when I was 20, and it was like I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, so it was so shocking for me. I was like, oh my God, this world is not at all what I was told and what, I believed. And that sort of began my journey of awakening and healing modalities and trying to figure out, why are we here? And it was always, it's interesting, Nan, when you're talking about like the times we're in, we've been preparing for this. It's like, 20 years ago, it was like, that's what we were doing. It was like, oh yeah, this is all happening and we're preparing for this. And yet nothing really was changing. So you're like, okay, but we're in this huge catalyst and this huge change. And one of the things that happened for me throughout my journey was as I was integrating all of these spiritual tools and having all of these experiences, my life really struggled. Like I would struggle to work, or I'd struggle to keep, my career. And I've always been very creative in art, and I've been an artist, and so it was always that sort of battle of like, how do I live this totally free spiritual life and, create a life that reflects what's going on the inner, as opposed to, all right, well, now I'm going to go into my corporate career and I'm going to do A, B, and C to kind of, pay the bills and take care of the mortgage. And so it did become, and it didn't start out as a practical thing, but it did become, a very practical journey for me to kind of feel all of these things and figure out what is my place and how do I do this and how do I bring it forward. And so, one of the great modalities that I've been really leaning into, and now my partner and I, we have a school, we have a lot of education, we do a lot of certifications, and one of the main tools we integrate through the things we teach is this system of human design. And as the system of human design started downloading for me, and it started becoming a primary tool to sort through all of the spiritual teachings, it also began to show through the collective consciousness, through the epoch or the aura of the collective, sort of what is happening and what is going on right now on the planet. And so that's been a huge conversation for me and through, my community and the clients that I'm working with. And is this conversation of how to look through this lens from a perspective where you can sort of detach yourself a little bit so that we can observe the change and observe it from varying different perspectives, so we're not so emotionally charged with everything, and we can sort of look at what's happening through the aura mechanics. And so this system of human design, it talks about and it shows this global cycle. And the global cycle that we're in right now is this breakdown that, of course, it's viewed in so many different perspectives, and spiritual teachers are going to talk about it in all different types of languaging. But one of the really interesting things that I can bring to the discussion is this, how it's breaking down in the global cycle based on this, and what human design is, just to kind of give you guys all, if you've never heard of human design, to give you sort of just the basics of it, what it is. It's a combination, sort of like astrology. It's a combination of the chakra system, so your energy centers, your astrology, so it's based on the time that you were born, and then it kind of integrates, it also integrates the I Ching and the modern day sciences like quantum physics. So, and what it does is it breaks it down so that you have sort of a reading of your own personal DNA code, and also it helps you kind of have a reading of what's happening on the global scale. So yeah, so it's a really powerful and interesting way to kind of sort through and look at what's going on. So it's funny because when Rhys brought up the Enneagram, a lot of people compare human design to different types of personality assessments as well. I've never really studied the Enneagram, so I don't really know it that well. But this is the one that resonated for me powerfully and like completely changed my life and my purpose, and figuring out where I was absolutely not living as myself. And it helped me to sort through where, when you're spiritual, sometimes you take on the energies of the world around you, and it's very easy to embody things that aren't yours. And so what the human design system has done is really kind of help diagnose that for me, and use it as a system through all of my spiritual teachings very practically. Also, it's kind of come through as a way to kind of help people find their purpose and how to, kind of ground that and create it in a structure that people can, serve and create businesses and create, personal livelihoods that best represent who they are. So that's a little bit about me and a little bit about, the conversations I've been having and kind of how to look at what's happening in 2020.
Yeah, and I met Raquel a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she came as a client. I think you said you were kind of new on the internet and things. And your experiences, the businesses you've had, the things you've created since like a very young age, like you said, like 20, is you look at it now, it's so easy to see how it was a training. I think we've all been in training, like we were talking about. But share a little bit about, so the human design has different, I don't know what you call them, personalities or categories, but about the projector, which you are and I am, what's one thing. And what I found most interesting, I do not know human design that well at all, but I did a little work with Raquel, and it was really helpful to know my partner and to me and how to respond. I think there's probably a lot of people on here who are projectors. And when I understood what that meant, it was changed how I did my business. You know, like you said, it changed how I thought about it and what choices I made, because there's a specific way of being with the opportunities that present themselves, sort of.
Yeah. Yeah, just out of curiosity of everybody who's on the call, if you guys know what your aura type is, if you know, just type it in the chat. I'm just curious to see who knows. For those of you who don't worry. I'm happy to provide you with a free link. You can, you can find out your chart. But if you do know it, does anybody here know if they're a projector? Oh yeah, okay. So we do have some projectors on the call, and yeah, oh cool. So, yeah, when I met Nan, I was in corporate America, and I was climbing that corporate ladder, and I worked from home, but I still, I was working for a corporate company, and I was trying to make that shift. She kept saying like, oh, that corporate company is draining you. And I was, creating my business, but I was so initiating and so manifesting and so like pushing. And so I was like, why is this working for everybody else and it's not working for me? And so, and I was, yeah, Nan really saved me in like very serious times. We did, it was a lot of deep, like spiritual, I'll never forget those sessions with you because it was intense. And it really did catapult me out of corporate. But it was still going to be, when did I find out I was a projector? It was still like a year later or so, where I was really burning out and just really like there's some piece that's missing, so yeah, there's manifesting generators and projectors, and a lot of people are saying they haven't heard of it. So it's great if you haven't heard of it, because you're in for a real treat when you find out your design. And for those of you who are projectors, you can probably relate to the burnout, because it's and the interesting thing is, like I said, I had done every type of spiritual, I probably not every type of modality, but a lot, right? And I was also, I got my master's in spiritual psychology, and I've been studying and doing so much deep inner work, and I was really at a breaking point as to why I couldn't figure out why I was so burned out, why I wasn't, why my businesses weren't taking off the way it did for other people. And when I found out I was a projector, I literally, cried, and it just explained me in a way that nothing else did. And so what the difference between human design and other spiritual teachings is they're literally based in different fields. And the human design is based in the aura mechanics. And so it's a way to understand how your aura is operating in your day-to-day and in your business, and how you integrate with your partner, like Nan was saying about how her and Christopher operate. Like, he's a MG, right? Or a generator.
He's
Yeah,
an MG.
MG. Yeah. And so you really, all of a sudden, it's like you have compassion for how these two auras operate in the world. And it's huge amount of insight about how the auras operate. So there's projectors, there's generators, there's manifesting generators, and there's manifestors and reflectors. And so just as a little note, the manifestors are only 8% of the population. And they are exactly what you would imagine. They're the only type that is here to go out and make something happen, go out and initiate. And so we as a culture have been trained and conditioned to believe that we're all manifestors. And it's not to say that we're not all here to manifest, because we are. We're all here to manifest and to live our purpose and to play our piece. But we're all conditioned to believe that we're here to manifest in the same way, which is this real go-getter, make it happen type of energy. And, you know, if you look around, you don't have to look far to see that type of motivational energy out there in the world about how to kind of live your life. And if it's not working for you, you got to work harder, right? You got to
Yeah.
go out there. And
Well, and what's interesting is I know I've heard, Rhys, I've heard you talk about that there's a small percentage of people who are out there designed to make a lot of money, right? And that there's in the makeup of how people are. And it sort of matches what Raquel is saying.
Yeah,
yeah,
interesting though, and there are more people on the planet that are here to be leaders than any other profile. There's a certain percentage of those that are going to make all the money. You know, that's why we live in a world of top 1%. 1% of the people should be sharing all the money they make with all the other people, but in our culture, it's whatever you get, you keep. And so then, and they're like, well, if you were just more like me, and that's why you go see public, you know, these positive mental attitude speakers are like, just be like me and you'll be making millions. And it doesn't work that way, because there are these other qualities, and basically the leaders and the achievers in the world are the ones that are making most of the money, or you know, sabotaging. The leaders do tend to have the ups and down swings, but then there are the deep feelers, the caretakers, and the creative people are sort of looked as second-class citizens when it comes to what you're supposed to be doing in the world. And so I'd love to hear sort of like which of these other people, but yeah, I think Buckminster Fuller said that for every 10,000 people, there's one that will generate enough of a creative business or money generation that it will pay for all the other ones to find their purpose that has nothing to do with money. But in a world where everybody's taught as soon as they get to school that you have to sit up and pay attention and you're getting ready to work and you're going to get a job, most people never find their creative purpose in life. And this is why the illness rate is so high. This is what, you know, when you're trying to be somebody you aren't, you know, like Raquel was talking about being in corporate and realizing, oh my God, this isn't me. I was 25 years as a coach and a tennis pro, and I was a professional athlete and martial artist. And I'm like, I'm going to be this tough guy, strong guy. And, you know, getting to my mid 30s and realizing, oh my God, I've succeeded at all these things I wanted to achieve at, except for inner fulfillment. And where does that come from? And it doesn't come from what you do. It comes from recognizing who you are. So being a creative teacher and then figuring out how to have that make money, anything you know how to do, you can make money at. But like Nan says, there are certain people, and Raquel was saying, there are definitely people that are here to make all the money. We just have to indoctrinate them to understand that it's their job to help the others find their purpose, because that supports them in even being a greater leader, rather than telling them, well, since you're not as smart as I am, you're just a second class. You're not going to, you know, you got to live in this situation. You know, there's enough money in the world for everybody to be rich, and resources. Everybody could have a wonderful life, but we have to, like what Rachel's talking about, when I'm talking about these, you know, you've got the life by design. I've got the life purpose profiles. When all five, and you've got five as well, right? 1, 2, 3, or you have four. When all of these are in, you have five. Okay, so when those five qualities, when we realize that inside our own ecosystem, we all have to lead, we all have to figure shit out and achieve. We all have to caretake others sometimes. We all have to have deep feelings sometimes. We all have to be creative. But one of them is why we're here, and we take responsibility for delivering that. That then makes our lives work. And when you understand in sort of Nan's much bigger picture that 7.5 billion people, there's not, every one of them has one piece of the pie. Each one of us knowing our purpose in life feeds into that pie. There's no sort of like, well, there's important people and unimportant people. There's just people, and everybody's got to get to know which one of their pieces they contribute. And of course it'll be uniquely your way of doing it, but you know, I'm sure in human design it's the same thing. It's like you have to kind of know that rock you build your life on, rather than, oh, maybe I'll try corporate. Maybe I'll be a healer. Maybe I'll be, it never works. It's like all this trial and error. And then at 40 or 50 years old, you realize, oh my God, every time I try something, it takes about 10 years to figure out whether I actually am that or not. So wouldn't it be better if you learned what you were before you tried to do something, before you try to do it and find out you're not? And that's where, that's when people come to my school. I'm sure that's when they come to Rachel too. It's like, oh yeah, I don't have another 10 years or 20 years. I want to figure it out now. So the next 30 years or 40 years of my life are on my terms.
I was laughing because it's become like a common thing for people, like Raquel and I will say this to each other. I'm sure you hear certain clients and stuff. You go, oh no, I've done it enough times. It's not worth it. Like if I push it, if I go in that direction, if I make it happen, because that's the way I was, and it's the programming and conditioning too that we have, like, like we're talking about in society. So right now the transparency and the breakdown is so you can see where you are hooked into programs that you may be living a life that is not designed for you. You might not be as bad as one client I had whose parents wanted her to be a lawyer, and she became a lawyer, and she threw up every single day for 8 years when she went to work. I'm like, gosh, that was such a clue.
Years, wow. Yeah. That's like trudging through it, right?
Yeah, exactly. But, and then how many people... But
the bigger fear of unconsciously disappointing your parents, who were probably incredibly powerful, was greater than the pain of living a fake life.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And at some point, the cost of being someone that you're not becomes so much greater than being a success, or being and I always say, I remember when I was about 20 years old, I was like, I'm going to be a pro athlete. I'm going to be a martial artist. I wasn't that good at school, so I kind of had to do that. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to make products. And I did every one of those things. And it's not who I am. I am this creative teacher that teaches, people how to find their soul quality and find their highest purpose in this moment, in this lifetime. And that's what I do. And I always did it as a coach. I did it, and I never noticed that. I was all like, that's not the way they want. They want to win the match. They want to do this. And it's not true. People want to have inner fulfillment for who they are. And I was like, oh my God, I can do that. No problem.
So interesting. Yeah. And, in human design, what we talk about is this deep conditioning, and it shows you kind of where you're conditioned. And what I think is really fascinating about the times we're in also is that, when you're talking about the lockdown and everybody being pushed into their own home, well, when you talk about it in terms of the aura mechanics, what happens is we're all pulled into our own aura. And that actually is a huge gift, because auras are deeply conditioning forces. So in other words, the minute you have 3 people together, they create a transauric entity that moves you in a direction, right? So it's like the minute you're with, like for me, when I was working at corporate, I took on so much of those qualities without even understanding how or why it was happening. Projectors do that a lot, by the way. And so, but it's also part of the conditioning force of the auras coming together, creating a mechanic that pushes you in a certain direction. And so right now it is such a catalyst. It's such an important time that we've actually been able to separate ourselves. And then, of course, a lot of people's jobs have fallen away and careers have fallen away. And all of these things have fallen away, so that we really have to go through the catalyst of transformation. And when you go through that transformation, it is a time of seeking and looking for, like, what tool can I use to help decipher who I am, and how do I reinvent myself? And so what this system is doing is exactly that. It's showing you, like, who you are, what your own unique DNA code is. We all have a unique DNA code, and we all have a uniqueness, and we all have a unique purpose. And so once you can decipher who you are, the other unique piece to the puzzle that human design does is it provides for you a little GPS system. And what it's saying is that we each uniquely are designed to make decisions in a unique way. And decisions are very, we've been conditioned again to either use our mind to tell us what to do, right? Yeah, I got to go out and I'm going to be this and I'm going to, make these goals like Rhys was talking about. It's like your mind is going to go out and tell you exactly what to do. And then you may be conditioned to make lists, or even sometimes to follow downloads. That was my big thing, is like, okay, get the download and then go out and follow that. And so what human design is kind of helping you to clarify how to make decisions based on your uniqueness. And so, yeah, so Carol is asking, if time permits, can you briefly explain how projectors make it happen, whatever it might be? Right. Yeah, exactly. So there are a lot of projectors here. And I think that for me, the finding out I was a projector, it was such a huge game changer for me, because there was really nothing I'd ever heard, no matter what I've studied, that they kind of helped me, like, understand that part of myself. So projectors are, they're about 20% of the population, and they have this sort of unique aura type that is penetrating but also absorbing. And so they mostly are conditioned to live as generators or manifesting generators. And they are, designed to go out and make it, or conditioned to go out and make it happen. But projectors are actually here to wait for the recognition before they talk. So they may have insights, and they may have, they are here to have insights. They are here to lead, guide, and direct in their own way, and in, what's correct for them. But they're trying to do it to a audience that's not ready for it or not listening. And so what happens is they just try harder, like, oh my God, I know this, I got to give this information out. And they just push more and try harder, and like, why aren't you hearing me? And really what human design is saying is, it's counterintuitive, is that no, you got to like hold back and wait first. And actually, 92% of the population are actually here to wait. Projectors are just one, but generators and manifesting generators are also here to wait. And like I said, only manifestors are the only type that are here to initiate. So as a projector, to go out and make it happen, it's really counterintuitive, but it's a moment of waiting and really like being in your own aura and waiting, and allowing for people to kind of come to you and sort of invite your wisdom and see you and recognize you first.
Yeah, I liked it when Raquel was sharing that with me. You can imagine, Rhys, right? You can imagine having your own business and being told, no, you can't go out and try to get this to happen. You have to wait to be seen, right? And wait to be recognized or wait to be seen. To me, now I frame that as wait for the people who can see you, can benefit from what you do, can appreciate what you have, instead of going and filling a program with X number of people, no matter who they are, because that's what you're supposed to do according to your business coach or something, right? And so the difference is a little weird, a little scary if you've been living your life or running your business that way. And yes, you kind of have to be like, well, okay, we're living in the flow. But that's the beauty of it to me, is I got to shift too. And I got to shift into saying, I don't have to work so hard, except I do what makes me happy. I do what truly raises my vibration. And I pay more attention to myself. I take better care of myself, meaning like, oh, I have to go for my swim in the ocean in the morning, and nothing gets in the way of that, instead of I have to work 40,000 million hours and all that. And the difference that happens when people show up that see you, then you take action, right? So I know you have a lot of deep conversations about this, because it's so difficult to balance your programming or your need or your want to make something happen with waiting to be seen. But if you're doing your own thing in the meantime, and you're becoming who you are, and your aura is changing, the people who show up then are epic. They're the perfect client without you writing down a description of the perfect client. You're becoming the vibration for the perfect client to see you. And then once they see you, you can reach out and say, hey, you want to do this? Let's play, right?
Right. And yeah, and sometimes it is that really simple shift, and it's really practical. You know, it's a practical guideline. But it is complicated in the sense that it's about educating or reconditioning from the way we were told to do things. And so, yeah, sometimes that is kind of an initiation into a new way of being. But usually people come to me when they're at their burnout point, right? And nothing else is working. And they are, you know, going after the hustle or whatever. And they really are willing and ready to try something new on, right? Because it's like, okay, nothing's working. And so at that point, that's when the real transformation happens, when people are like ready to like experience something new.
Yeah.
And
And
so
that's
it
when
can
they
be
see you, right? That's when they say,
right.
hey, that lady's interesting. I should listen to what she said or whatever, right?
Right. And then all of a sudden, you know, the amount of energy it takes to fill a program and or to work with a client when you've waited a little bit for them to recognize you, it's a whole other dimension. You know, it's a whole other dimension, and it provides energy. It provides all kinds of juicy, beautiful things that you're not going to get when you're trying to make someone understand what you see about them. Because you know, they may not be the right people for you.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
hard
it's
to accept
really
when you have your goals, though, and you're trying to push it. Did you want to say something, Rhys?
Oh, I just wanted, I wanted to add in. I wanted to add in as people are sort of thinking about, well, what am I and how do I do this? Understanding that if you like, how do you choose? So we have this massive opportunity that you said right now, and people are thinking, you know, what I've been doing may not really feed me fully. And you know, as Raquel was saying, you know, people come to this realization. Disappointment is the beginning of the spiritual path. Okay, nothing starts without disappointment. You know that is the and then the fool becomes so disappointed that they're willing to step off the cliff, and that's the beginning of the tarot deck, and that's the beginning of moving into actual transformation. And when you're disappointed, when you realize that God, this didn't fulfill, okay, then you need a system, and I like these two systems we're talking about here. But an interesting piece that's part of the system that I work with, which was based on the Alexander Lowen and Wilhelm Reich work back in the 20s, is that your purpose has a body type, and it's really important to understand that when the person who said, when I played that bowl, by the way, that bowl that I played was called the Spiritual Life Purpose Bowl tone. It's an F sharp. And it's this point right above your heart that exists on a vertical axis line in your body that is the gravity line that pulls the particles and the atoms together to form your body and make sure that your arm doesn't fall off. You always look the same for this entire lifetime. You evolve just at the way you're supposed to be doing. So there's a contract. These are your life purpose contracts to do that. But of course, if you have a real purpose that's an energetic purpose, it's going to give you the perfect body to do that. And so each of these qualities of like a leader is going to have to lead in lots of different ways. So they have to be able to build their body up. They're the ones that when they lift weights, the muscles get big. When they're the ones that eat a lot, they get huge. They can become huge, or they can become skinny, or they can whatever they want. Like the actors, you see the actors and actresses. There's nobody on the video screen in the world that you ever see on TV that isn't a leader. Okay, now they play all the different roles, so they're very tricky. They can be the projectors, or they can be the deep feeler, they can be the caretaker, and they will actually create the body type that goes with that. But the other four, the achievers, they've got the triathlete body. Okay, they are disciplined. They have moved up and down in their weight, maybe 2 or 3 pounds in their lifetime. Okay, then the team players are these big, warm, grounded people who do tend to have a lot of weight, and they tend to be really warm and big huggers, and they carry that body type. And then the emotional intelligence people have this incredibly soft, non-aggressive types of bodies, very, very gentle, long muscles. They love flow yoga, right? Or they like to walk outside, but they're not ever are they aggressive. And then the creative people are high, tall, and wiry because all the energy moves vertically. So how the energy moves through your energy system creates a very specific body type. So again, we were talking about behavior. You know, everybody can try to be whatever they are, but you can also, it's really important. And I've actually, I sadly, I have to leave. I told you I have another thing coming 1:30. So there's two things I can share. There is a free, on my website, RhysThomasInstitute.com. There's a free profile assessment that you can take, the element within your decision making, because it's not just about what you feel like you should do. You've been given the specific body and energetics you need to deliver that one thing. And I know Raquel was talking about that same thing. The other thing that I have is I want to, and I'll put on there, there is, and I'll type it in here. Let me make sure I spell it right.
Put it in, but you put it in too, just to make sure it's right. We'll also have it in the email, and the replay will have it there too.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
So there's an event I'm doing on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of October that sort of, if you want to find your purpose in 3 days, that would be it. It's like, what am I supposed to do with my life? Well, who was I always at with meditations and many different things? So, and this actually, it actually has a price to it, but for this event, for Nan's event here, I made a URL that you can go to and get it for free. Full 3 days, and it's a party, and we can do this stuff. But I really want to thank you, Nan. I want to thank everybody. And I know I had to leave early, and I apologize for that, but you all have fun, and thank you.
Thank you so much, honey. Love you.
Thank you.
Bye.
That was awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing the profile. So
yeah. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you
Bye.
so much. Oh, wonderful. Well, how nice. So yeah, you could find that for free. We'll make sure we have that up for you as well. So so Raquel, let's you and I kind of go a little bit deeper on a couple things. If anyone has any questions, please pop them in there. And I think we got everything up to this point. And so, you know, it's such an interesting conversation because we're looking at waking up to who you were designed to be versus who you were told to be or who you believed you had to be, and all those other things that we've been unweaving for a while now. So when you have an opportunity to, you know, like Rhys said, he had an aha moment, or Raquel said, or one of these systems, or I do soul purpose readings or deep journeys where you actually experience and encounter things yourself, whatever it is that you're drawn to, the key is that you have to unplug from those lower states, right? So right now there's all this fear. Tell us a little bit about the cycles. You know, you were talking about that we have our pattern and our cycles, and then there's also this, we're inside of another cycle, right, for the whole planet. And how that's unfolding.
I find it super fast. It's a very helpful way to look at what's happening. And basically, you know, because this system uses astrology, it also maps out global cycles and collective auras, right? So what we've seen is that we're in a 400-year cycle. And the 400-year cycle is shifting. It's in its process of shifting right now. And you know, it's so funny though, any system you look at, you're going to see a shift, right, in this time, right? If we look at astrology, the Mayan calendar, like whatever we're looking at, there's all these shifts. So in human design, what we're seeing is a shift in 2027. And they're saying that it's happening now. But because, you know, we're 2020 and it's a 7-year process to understand your design. And so what happens, they say that you have to take a 7-year experiment with human design. And so the cycle that shifts in 2027 is that it's moving from what it's called is the cross of planning, and it's moving into the era of the individual. And what that generally means, right, is that all of these systems that are breaking down, the corporate, the banks, the politics, how we're looking at everything, all of capitalism basically was built in the 400-year cycle of the cross of planning. And that was all built into our collective aura mechanics, in that we all were building into a tribal agreement that family was important, and what's important is to go to work, pay the bills, and take care of the family. And that was actually seen in the aura mechanic. So that was a collective aura mechanic that we were all operating within. And what got missed in that was the individual, right? Those people that were the freaks, or what we call is the freak to genius, which is the freak at first until you're recognized, and then you become the genius, right? And so, when we move through that shift from the tribal energy to the individual, it's going to shift into the individual journey, the individual awakening, having a aura mechanic, so that collectively it has power. So it's actually going to be revered, to self-actualize, to realize who you are, to take the journey not of going to college, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but that's not going to be the only way. To go to college, have a family, have a career, and get the 401k. You know, we're already seeing those things like go to college, you get $100,000 in debt. Your 401k is not going to necessarily work. So all of these things are already breaking down, right? But what's going to happen is we're going to actually really honor somebody who says, hey, school's not for me. I'm going on a spiritual journey. I'm actually going to study with the shamans. You know, these kind of things are actually going to be part of the collective aura mechanic. And so I know it's so exciting, right? I mean, I love looking at it from this perspective, because it just helps you realize that, like, oh, okay, it's breaking down. And that's exactly what is meant to happen right now. And so there is an ending, but there's also the birthing of the new, right? There's the whole awakening of a whole new cycle. And yeah, it's going to challenge the tribal norm. Yeah. And that includes the religious structures. That includes the family structure. And even like what we're seeing with like the husband-wife, right?
Uh-huh.
What did you...
I was going to say, you're seeing schools close. You're seeing schools change completely how they do things. They're having less influence. You're not there to be, you know, to have that manipulation. And then, yeah, the sexual whatever freedom, you know, the gay rights and these mixed families and all these different ways of being. And so many of the newer, younger generations, they don't even want to have a sex, you know, they don't want to be identified as bi or straight or this or that. They're just like, stop identifying me. So yeah, this ability. And it's interesting you're saying that in 7 years or 6 years or whatever, that this is, you know, kind of written in the energies. And because what I was taught was like, this year is the threshold to this decade. And when we emerge from this decade is, you know, when we're going to be in what the golden age, right? The more of the aware age, the awakening. But you can't have a butterfly without the caterpillar completely liquefying and losing all shape and identity and form of any kind. So the beautiful thing about this is not only to have this, what you're talking about, as oh, wow, there is somebody else out there that thinks this is a good, because you might be surrounded by people who are all doom and gloom. And yet to have this knowing, to me, it's more inspiring to really get my shit in gear, like to really be there to help and to watch and to be ready for that space. So tell us more.
Yeah, exactly. And so what human design is saying, it was like literally it's saying that this was actually the time this intel was designed for. And this is years back from when it started. It was like, it's designed for 2027, right? And so, and what the main takeaway from that is that there's going to be confusion and fear with the breakdown. You know, it's just, there's a lot of chaos, there's confusion. The mind is trying to figure things out. And so what this system is saying is that there is another way, which is called the vehicle intelligence, right? So yes, there's a million different, you know, modalities to tap into that vehicle intelligence, as we all talked about today. And this is one of them, where there's a knowing deep within your aura. There's a knowing in who you are that can lead and direct your vehicle, meaning your body and your life, um, to safety, right? To places where you're not going to get affected by whatever's happening, including the fires. I mean, we live in California, and like there's nothing, like I've never noticed anything going on at all where we are. I mean, we live kind of in a little isolated area in California, but still, you know, I mean, we have fires that all up and down the state. And so, and I was actually just 2 years ago, I sold my house and moved out in the here. And had I stayed in that place, I would have been right in the center of LA, right? Right in the center of where all of that was going down. And that's from following your design, not your mind. And so it's like the idea is that as we're sorting through the intensity, we don't have to be in the worst part of it. You know, we can, and obviously, you know, when you're following your divine truth and you're really tapping in, you're going to be led as well. This is just like a detailed description of your unique way of doing it and your unique operating system that'll kind of lead you sort of out of the center of the fire and into a place where you can, you know, safely kind of navigate the changes. And according to this system, you know, this is just the beginning of the breakdown.
Yes, exactly. That's part of the inspiration to have these conversations is that regardless of where you are standing, whether you're like just waiting for things to go back to normal, it'll be this month, it'll be next month, it'll be tomorrow. Nothing's going back to what was normal, and
Right.
it's not meant to be scary and doom and gloom. It's just like, get on the boat and come down the river instead of trying to hold on to the shore and get
Right.
beat up against the shore. And it's also important to let go of like our goals, these old ways of
Right.
thinking, and embrace new ideas, new ways of seeing it, like you're talking about, or Rhys, or whatever perspective it is, because now is an opportunity. When there's a breakdown, it's an opportunity. It's a massive opportunity, and it's an accelerated evolution right now that even apparently the scientists have a term for. I forget what it's called. So we see mass extinctions, we see accelerated evolution, and that means it looks a little scary. And yeah, we're seeing earthquakes and fires and riots and whatever you name it at the same time going on all over. And yet I have the same experience that you have. I live on the beach in the Yucatan of Mexico, about 45 minutes away from a city, and it's peaceful and blissful. And every day of the pandemic, I can walk outside and swim in the ocean and go down the beach. I've had no claustrophobic moments, you know, and I just listen, and I internally, right, doing all of my own inner work to be guided. And we're just consistently stunned at the literal magic that it appears has happened when you go, isn't this amazing that we're already here? You know, we seem to be ahead of that curve, but it's not because I followed a system someone else told me what to do. It's because I started to integrate these different things to listen to me and to honor what I'm like. I just go, I'll say it energy, because it's so many different ways of perceiving it, but I'm just like, I feel like I'm being told to move somewhere new, but this place is amazing. We were living in Playa. We were looking out over the Caribbean Ocean. We were in this penthouse. There was jungle in front of us and then the ocean. It was epic. It was amazing. And keep getting caught. And literally the last retreat that we had there, people were there for the final party going, how can you leave this? And I said, yes, a couple months ago, my belly was like, nobody can get this place. It's mine, you know? And then it just started to go, I'm supposed to go somewhere. I wonder where that is. And it wasn't even like forced at that point. It was letting it unfold. And those are some of the ways that you know that you're at least listening to the flow. What is your perspective on the idea that if I listen to my guidance and I know just the right thing and I do it right, then everything will be perfect? Because that's part of the whole, spiritual breakdown that I had many times, was I kept applying that old conditioning of learning it, doing it better than anybody else. And then I've reached the goal and everything's perfect. But things are constantly in flow. And when you have this new truth, and something else opens, and so on. So
yeah, I mean, well, according to this knowledge, which I think, again, you can see it in a lot of different teachings, but according to this human design, which is something that is a powerful perspective, is that what we're moving into, or what is the highest thing to kind of move into, is this passenger consciousness, where you're actually letting the life unfold and sort of watching the movie. And yes, there is a training period to move from the mind controlling and operating and thinking it's in control, right? Thinking it knows what to do and thinking it's in control, to becoming a passenger. And passenger consciousness is something that a lot of spiritual teachers talk about, and it's been obviously around for a long time. And so what human design is kind of teaching, what it's saying, is that when you become the passenger, there is a vehicle, or an aura that can move with a sense that is different than your mind. And they're saying that we're evolving and awakening to a higher sense being, that their mind, even though it has guided us for the last 400 years and given us so much, let us out of being cave people or whatever, and really led us into being the humans that we are today. The education and the mind was a very important, powerful piece to the puzzle over the last 400 years. Is now we're evolving beyond the mind and being able to witness the limitation of the mind. And so when you're able to use the mind for what it's good for, which is communicating or learning or whatever, but not making decisions, and not for everything, that there are greater senses and sense opportunities. And so there is, and there's a uniqueness, just like there's not a single person who looks like another. I mean, obviously there are twins, but you know what I mean, that each human is so unique. And when you drop it into the DNA code, there's not a single person that is the same. And so human design reads that, and it shows you that your vehicle is going to operate different than other people. And when you allow it to take hold and to move through life, then yeah, there's not a specific outcome. It's a journey, and it's an unfolding, and it's a beautiful experience. And your purpose, your part to play in the puzzle, is needed, and you will get everything you need to play your part. You will have everything you need in order to be yourself. And so that is shocking, right? So that's a shocking aha. Okay, so it's not the way I think it's going to be, but it's going to be fantastic and maybe better than I could have thought it could be, right?
yeah, and that's part of it, is we, from this perspective, from our mind, from the way that we've been conditioned to see things, or see ourselves, or believe what's true, to create our lives. It's not right or wrong, but it limits your perspectives. It limits your possibilities. So we can't even imagine what the world's going to be like in 6, 7, 10 years, and probably not next year either.
Right.
But the ultimate, like, I want it to be like this. I interviewed Miten, Deva Pramal's partner, last time, and he said that, I don't even know what to hope for anymore. This was in, I don't know, April, I think, or so, April or May, because we had been through the beginning of the pandemic and the shutdowns and the shock and the fear and all the, the craziness that first happened. And, as a loving person and spiritual person or whatever, right, he's in there praying for peace, or meditating on something. And he said, I don't even know what to hope for anymore. And it's not a depressing thought, it's a freeing thought, because if you let go of hoping that this person has that happen, or this happens, or that happens, then you've decided to put that between you and what could happen, right? The potential that's out there that you don't even understand.
Right. And I do think that is a very important piece to all of this, is that if we're looking out to try and make sense of the world, we're going to just be more deeply confused, because it is a very personalized experience and journey. And this is really a process of looking inside and looking in our own truth and who we are, and being really present within our own experience. And I think what's interesting is, like I said, if I were to look at my daily routine and I were to I walk out, there's the lake, there's my dog, it's like it looks so peaceful and so normal. It's like there's no one's dropping dead on the side of the road. It's like there's not, it's like and so it really is where you're looking and the perspective you're going to have, and then how you're going to operate within your own consciousness and within your own being.
Yeah. So I think some of the amazing takeaways from today's conversation, include that when you drop into your soul, or awaken to, or live from your soul purpose, whatever that might be for you in this moment, that's optimal. It's a lot of it is about not making it happen, right? But dropping in and being part of what's happening in the experience. And then what I call get back in the captain's chair, right? Master where you're looking, like Raquel said, like stop staring at the news, stop thinking about what somebody said, stop being upset about whatever thing. And instead, if you watch it, but then choose this inner path of like, well, who am I in this moment? And what is optimal for me in this moment? And how do I feel about that? I know that there's, I don't watch the news, but things come through. And I know that there's a lot of people that are moving. And the idea was a few months ago, and nobody's going to move, nobody can sell their house, nobody can rent anything. But there's people who are moving out of cities in droves. And everything was the other direction. These small towns and some indigenous cultures had almost been decimated because everyone went to the city. And now we're like distributing people more across an even base and going more connecting to nature. Like you were saying earlier, we got an opportunity to go within and take advantage of that crisis to say, how often do you get told stay home? You don't have to go out and make it happen. You can wait and watch, right? So let's see, why don't you just wrap up something for us? Everything you've said seems like amazing little wisdom nuggets, but wrap up for us. What's a great way for people to walk through this time?
Yeah, so, as you're, if you guys can get, find out your aura mechanic, just the basic small step of knowing the strategy that's based on who you are is an incredible little teeny golden nugget for operating through these times of confusion. And it's this having a unique strategy based on who you are, a unique inner authority, and just knowing that everything is actually perfectly aligned, like everything is perfectly happening, and it's written in the stars, it's written in the DNA, it's written in the coding. And as we surrender to that and know how to operate, have confidence in how to operate as our true self, then I think this is going to be a beautiful time of witnessing however it starts to unfold, and we can play our role in serving during this time to assist humanity through this great change.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for everything you do. I love you so much.
I love you.
Oh, it's just so awesome to get to listen to your brilliance and your insights, and who you've trained very hard to become in this moment. And thank you for guiding. And so share your website real quick. We'll give everybody all of this, and the replay will have it as well. But just share your website.
So the website is just raquelreyna.com. and there you can get your free chart. Once you do get your free chart, just check the email and there'll be a video for each aura type. If you're a projector, generator, manifesting generator, manifestor, reflector, whatever type you are, so you can just kind of get the basics. And it's a lot of fun. It's so much fun if you don't know which type you are. It's a really fun experience to have that for the first time. So yeah, and it's also in the chat there if you guys want to get your
Yeah, it's in the
free
chat, and we'll have it, and we'll also this afternoon you'll get your special page link for this series, and we'll be putting everything on that page. So if you're on the list, on the email list, you'll get that access, and then we'll have the links for Raquel and for her free gift and for Rhys, and everything will be there, as well as how to listen to this on audio or on video. So if you want to re-listen to some of the conversations or to the crystal bowls or something, you can also just get the audio, and it'll be up on my podcast, BlissLife Podcast, on iTunes, and on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/joyfulnan. And we'll have a special playlist, but all of that is available if you sign up. And I'm sure that you did in order to be here. If you were a guest, thank you. Good. So I'm going to go ahead and close our circle with a beautiful meditative experience. And wow, we can just drop into this and absorb all of this amazing conversation and these insights and perspectives, and the revealing. What I love is, like, to me, it's like pulling back curtains. It's like revealing, oh, yeah, that's right. I don't have to live in this fear. I don't have to listen to that. I don't have to buy into it. And I don't have to be like everyone else, even if it's somebody I love. Well, that's part of what has kept us from evolving this quickly into our purpose. Because, like Raquel was explaining, we've been in this structure where belonging, first it was literal physical survival. And then it's just been all these conditionings that you need to be like us to belong, to be safe, to be liked, and so on. So it's okay if that's breaking down for you, because that's what's happening whether you like it or not. So it's happening for everyone. The curtains are being pulled back, the transparency is becoming obvious, and wherever you're standing is wherever you are. So when you get to accept who you are and just say, oh, okay, I'm right here, that state of acceptance means that you are in your power, because your emotional body forgives, your mind comes into harmony, you transcend all the stories and the drama, and compassion fills your life. From that state, you can then choose where you want to be experiencing this moment and be in a state of excitement. I like change. I've had a lot of painful change in my life. I've had a daughter die, went through a 3-year divorce. I went from being a multimillionaire and owning 80 properties, as well as my own $1 million home, to owning nothing and being bankrupt and homeless, and breakdowns of all different kinds, including death and all different things. So these, now I know for many years now, these are just part of my path that are opportunities. And the more that I don't force something to happen, the more that I listen to my inner design, that I do things that bring me joy and raise my vibration, I'm going to be in the state that allows me to walk through whatever's happening and actually see it as an adventure, to find an opportunity, to discover that I can let go of a belief or something that's blocking me from seeing this doorway that's over there. Like, your most fabulous life is right here. No, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. I'm not looking over here. So release it, relax, and drop into this and follow your own heart, follow your own path. This kind of advice right now is way beyond the feel-good stuff of the new age. You know, when we used to talk about being positive thinking, of course you want to think positive, because thinking negative is kind of a drag, and it's bad for your body and every other body that you have, all of your light bodies, and the stress. It drags down your immune system. It drags down your clarity, your connection to your higher self, to your wisdom, to all of this information that's going on. And so there isn't any circumstance that thinking negatively helps anything. So that's become sort of like, okay, yeah, but you know, that didn't change my life enough. Well, that's because at the time, that was all that we could absorb. Let me meditate. Let me write affirmations. Let me do Reiki. Everyone should do Reiki. It should be in kindergarten. It's like turning the faucet on. Hey, let me just plug you in so you can receive some flow, some energy, so you can feel and understand that you are an energy channel. So as the transformer of divine energy, as with the blueprint, I call it your soul blueprint, your human design, your life profile, whatever it is that you tune into that is the truth of who you are, it's not going to align with who you were told to be or who you thought you had to be or who your parents want you to be. And so there are those moments of grief and fear of being disowned or unloved, or different ways of that being an outcast and disconnecting. And yet another wisdom that Raquel brought us today was we're moving into the cycle of the individual. And that doesn't mean screw everybody else, I'm in it for myself. It means that I have to listen to my own inner voice. I have to listen to my own inner authority. I have to follow what's optimal for me. One of my speakers is granddaughters, and she said they came in and they're green babies. So we have like indigo children and crystal and so on. And she said these green babies are so sensitive that if the mother doesn't, she has to not eat gluten and all of these like super health things in order, because their body is being too sensitive to the toxins. They have this purity to them. So their experience and journey in this moment, why you would be born right now, that's a fascinating question, right? My twins are 22 years old. They're supposed to graduate from college, and they're a little bit like, what the fuck is going on? How am I supposed to plan my life? They, school not being live and all these, possibilities and so on. And so each, depending where you are in your journey, in this particular life of your soul, there's an enormous opportunity to begin to see your unique perspective, to become that unique puzzle piece, to say, if I don't play my piece, and I think both Raquel and Rhys said this in their own way, that your piece of the pie, your piece of being who you are, then radiates out and helps make the wholeness, brings us all up. And no, it's not revered right now. And no, people who love you and your family and are used to you being one way aren't going to be happy when you change. You can't keep people happy and change. It's not possible. So that's just one of those things to shed. And this equinox moment is the perfect time to do that. So as you let go and say, okay, I can't caretake everybody. I have to put myself first. And then you have more to give, but you give in your way, in a way that feeds you. And then there's this give and take. And there's harmony in the environment. So all the things you may have been taught, that it was selfish and greedy and you should feel guilty for loving yourself or for being happy in a very doom and gloom time. I get that. What are you being happy for? That's inappropriate. I don't want to be a part of keeping the doom and gloom and fear here. I want to be a light that figures out how to do this, stay at a higher state regardless of the breakdown, and then find others like you that want to find their path through. Okay. So this is such an incredible moment. I couldn't be more thrilled with how we opened this incredible series on soul purpose awakening. Tomorrow I'm going to do a live in the evening at 6 p.m. Central. And what I'm going to do is, it's the actual equinox tomorrow. So we're going to do a soul purpose awakening, the exact title of this series. I'm going to guide you on a channeled journey. And if you're familiar with me, these are very deep and a lot of things can happen. So when you come in, we again create the chamber and we go deep within, and you have your own journey. That's the beautiful thing. You come wherever you are and to go to the next step for you. You might have visions, you might let things go, you might have a healing of the body, but it's going to be to align you to the next level of awakening that you are ready for, to understand and connect to your soul blueprint, your soul purpose, and what we call in my Light Body School, your soul signature frequency, since everything is energy. So when you raised yourself from blame to fear, to anger, get a little stronger, into courage, and then willingness, and then acceptance, and all the other states from up there, now you are aligning with your soul signature frequency, or with your human design, or with your life profile. you can, up there, you can be free of those heavy states of energy that keep you hooked into worry or fear about what will happen. So I would like to invite you to close your eyes and to take a deep breath in. And when you do, bring that up through your nose into your brain and feel it saturating your entire brain and your mind. And then as you release it, say in your heart, cleanse, clear, release. And let it go right down and out of your feet chakras into your earth star and into Gaia. Thank you so much. So now I want you to take another deep breath in, and I want you to breathe in this beautiful temple of light and all of this interesting energies and information that has been stirred up, and just the right ones that were said for you, that were brought to light for you. Feel them moving through your body like little keys. Whenever you need, let the breath go very slow from your mouth. Cleanse, clear, release. So much has been stirred up today. And now you breathe in one more time, and you're breathing in the light, the insights, the information, the codes, the rays that were brought here just for you. And you take them in and they move through your entire light body, emotions and mind and out. Cleanse, clear, release. And just feel that beautiful light and energy pouring down. Let it go. If it's ready to go, you don't need to know. If it's ready to know, then it will rise into your consciousness. Don't try. Don't hang on. Let go. Get into your flow. Relaxing. Again, becoming aware of this circle of light that we're all sitting in, of all of these beautiful guides and energies that have been here. The gold cone of light above and below, the flower of life, spherical consciousness all around you, and the all-seeing eye. And let's take a moment now from who you are now. So you are a different person from when you entered this temple, when you entered this call. There are things you know, there's things that you've released, there's things that you've begun to stir up, there's things that you've reconnected, disconnected, and it's all been for your highest good. It's all been what is optimal for you. So feel joy, feel gratitude, feel excitement that you came here today and you received this beautiful gift. Feel the joy of us connecting. Feel the crystal bowls that opened your chakra and let you hear the soul voice within. That you sense the true voice that's speaking through you, not the fear voice. Feel excitement and light and feel how much more expanded you are, having this new wisdom, new energies. Little doors and locks have opened in your cells, in your body, in your throat chakra, in your heart. Beautiful thoughts and energies are pouring down on you like blessings because you've shed so much. Thank you, Kuku Khan. And you've reclaimed your spirit, your feathers, your antennas, your connection, new rays of light, new open channels of communication with your higher self, with your truth, with your soul blueprint have been awakened, cleansed, cleared. And some of the old ones that don't serve anymore have been dissolved. Feel the joy and excitement I am here now at the biggest change humanity has ever seen. And I came here with a mission and a purpose. And I have infinite amounts of ways to recognize, understand, connect with, and live that purpose. Oh, feel the love, the excitement, the openness, the bubbles. What is it you feel? Where are you feeling it? Open a new door. Open the door within your light body that is waiting for you right now. There is a gift, a clue, a message, guidance, something to remember, something to retake, to reimagine. What is this gift? This gift is brought to you on a silver liquid light tray. And one of the light body council comes to you in this circle, in this temple, inside the all-seeing eye, and lifts the top of this exquisitely wrapped gift off. The gift that's just yours is on this tray. Take a moment to accept it, to receive it, not in your mind, not from analyzing or measuring, but from your heart, from your soul's mind. Does it pour into your heart? Do you pick it up? Do you unwrap it? Do you eat it? Do you digest it? Do you smell it? Do you put it in your belly? Do you hold it in your hands? How will you, in your unique way, aligned with your soul's joys, gifts, talents, purpose, and mission, receive this gift and integrate it? Enjoy. Notice where you received it, how you received it, and now open yourself a little bit more and say, I'm ready and willing, and I'm open and receptive to integrating, fully receiving and understanding in the optimal time and rate this gift. I accept fully. Thank you, 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 thank you. Now remember your experience with the crystal bowls, and Rhys said where you feel it, how you sensed it, is teaching you so much about how you will find your solution or hear your own soul's voice and guidance. Now, one more piece before we leave the temple for today. Tune into all this amazing wisdom that Raquel shared to us, the cycles that we're moving into, perhaps some new insights into who you are or how to do things, or a new awareness that it's okay for you to be who you are, that it's in fact what you were designed to be. And if you go to a higher authority, you'll actually realize that, oh, this is really the place that my energy and focus belongs. Understanding how I work and creating myself in mint condition. Don't put the wrong engine or the wrong headlights on the wrong car and expect it to run well. Don't put unleaded gas or leaded or diesel in the wrong tank, or it won't have the energy, it won't have the fire, it won't have the combustion, it won't have the alignment to function, to be free, to ride, to go, to live, to travel, to be, to share, to become. And breathe in all of these gifts today. And received this power program of acceptance. Spiral of rose-colored and green-colored light spiraling in your heart. The healing heart and the passion heart together. The passion of the root now can live in the heart. The healing of the heart can now go to the root. It is safe for you to be here. It is safe for you to be who you are. What is what is. You are who you are. Acceptance. 350. Relax and allow these energies of acceptance and harmony and letting go to seep deep into your heart, your cells, your body, your mind, your inner eye, your emotions, and out through each layer of your being, your codes, your structure. I accept who I am, how I was designed. I accept a new way to receive it and experience it. I accept it's time for me to open my heart, forgive myself, the past, the pain, the others. It's time to let go and transcend. And feel yourself gathering your gifts up, them becoming a part of you and being lifted up, lighter and brighter, wider, feeling renewed and refreshed as this spiral moves from your heart, expanding, bigger, wider. I'm ready to be fully in and aware of my awakening. With great honor, love, and self-respect. I accept and transcend all that is no longer me. With gratitude, it falls away, and you are enveloped in a cocoon of compassion. That loving presence brings you gently back down into your body and into this moment. You see the doors opening to this great temple, and again the Light Body Council lining your path, bowing to you with great respect and honor. We thank you, Master. We thank you. Take this peace, this bliss, and this nurturing womb of the full moon with you. And take these gifts and take care of them like a seed that's been planted within your heart. With great, enormous, loving energy pumping through your heart, you enter that beautiful hot air balloon. But it looks different. It's not really the same. And you realize that it's just a construct of your mind for you to feel safe to travel in. And you step in and you see through it. You see the sacred geometry structure of it. You see and sense its light. And you look at your body, and again you see the structure, and you are light. And with this realization, in a full state of acceptance, you gently float down, 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 into this moment, into your body, accepting your body and integrating your new structure, your new awareness, your new codes, your new openings, your new gifts. You feel this cocoon of compassion and acceptance, of harmony all around you. And you receive, drink, digest from it. You feel safe in this cocoon. You feel ready and willing to love yourself exactly the way you are, to encounter your day moment to moment, just the way it unfolds, to stay inside of your pillar of light, and to choose from peace. Thank you, thank you, thank you to this Infinity Healing Chamber, the Light Body Healing Council, to each of those here and each of those who will watch, to Rhys and Raquel, and to Akasha, thank you. To all of the energies that aligned and all the moments that we listened within that brought us here together. May this circle be open yet unbroken, and the peace of this moment go with you, with every step and every breath, with every look and every touch. Move through this time and these next 2 weeks together. Remember, this cocoon of compassion is all around you. Whenever you need to accept who you are, where you are, what is happening, and rise above it, rise out of those lower states of fear and blame and anger. Breathe and realize that this is traveling with you. Thank you so much for joining us, for being a part of this, for lending your energy and your beauty and taking this out into the world. We're so blessed and honored to be here with you. I hope to see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central, right here again for our Soul Purpose Awakening journey. And then on Friday, I believe, thank you, I'm going to be doing a live with Pam Osleys, a fascinating woman who has incredible books and everything out there. You may have seen her on many different channels. She shows and everything all about your aura and your aura colors. And we're going to go deep into your infinite self. And then on Saturday, Christopher Macklin is going to be live here with us doing live healings. And this is what he does. And he's from the Global Enlightenment Project. So those are the live events we have for you this week. And in between, you're going to be getting a video every day of more amazing people with insights. And these amazing people who have come and answered the call have recognized and seen me as I spoke out to them. They've brought some of the most amazing experiences. They're very experiential, they're very deep. There's a lot of insights here. So please follow this, share this with everyone you know. It's 100% free, and have a beautiful and blessed day. Bye everyone. Thanks, Raquel.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye everyone.
Take care. So if you're interested in signing up, you can get these on YouTube, or you can come to our special page where the free gifts will be, and everything will be in the same place for you. You go to nanakasha.com/BlissLife Global Healing. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.